Welcome back. This is 90 Minutes with Mathematical, coming to you live from our studios, the studios of Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7 FM. I'm in Wasimi, and in Lagos is that great one, the man with double national honors, MON, OON, Quicksilver, Silvanus Okpala. Good morning, Quicksilver.
Good morning, the big shame.
You're looking good. You're looking good. And of course, we also have, I cannot see his face yet, but he will be joining us, Barrister Kayode Akinshola from Abeokuta here. You can hear your voice. Good morning, Barrister.
Yes, good morning, sir. And it gladdens my heart to be on this program to discuss this topical issue this morning. Good morning, sir.
Fantastic. So we'll be seeing your face later. And of course, we have my very good friend. We've been together forever. Probably the foremost sports medicine practitioner in our history. That is from me. That's my qualification. And he's a sports medicine consultant, Dr. Akinwunmi Amao. Good morning, doctor.
Yeah, good morning, Big Sheg. Good morning, other participants. It's nice to be here.
You are looking like a 30-year-old. I think that's one of the benefits of being a medical doctor.
Quite some time. I'm happy to see you. Yes, looking good.
We thank God.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you. Yeah.
Okay, let's start the conversation this way. Quicksilver, you are the athlete. You are the football player. You are my colleague, and what we are discussing today is the state of affairs of us who are retired ex-internationals. And my own argument in raising this is that some of our injuries, that we suffered during our playing days are affecting us now in our old age. And at that time, we did not have the foggiest idea what the consequences of that kind of training, the kind of training we were undergoing, the kind of injuries we subjected ourselves to at that time, training we subjected to, and injuries that we suffered. Nobody gave us an inkling into how it would affect us later down the line. Plus, of course, the kind of welfare packages we got even as athletes at that time, before we even come to the present day. So tell us a little about you now and the injuries that you suffered that you are still paying the price for today. Just tell us about you now, Quicksilver.
Yes, it's very disgusting, I must tell you, that I have one in my knee, one in the ankle, and after so many years, this my knee, I can't bend it, my right knee, then my right ankle, and I sustained these injuries while playing for Nigeria, not even Rangers. I sustained my first ankle injury when I was playing, and again, and most of us are suffering from it today. Seriously speaking. And I remember that I was injected to continue a match, to kill the pains. I was injected. And not once, several times, I must say maybe 8 or 10 times, or up to 8 or 9 times. And when I got to Europe as a professional, I had to talk to my doctor, some kind of, what I was injected with. And he said, he told me that it's never been done. That even if you have to do that, it has to be once in a lifetime.
That's serious.
But here I am. I was injected in the ankle and the knee about 8 times. Can you imagine that? And that is what I'm suffering today. So, and so many other people.
Name a few others that you have seen and all that.
You have Okala today. I am happy you publish a picture of Okala. If you see the way they walk, and Christian Chukwu, for example. And yourself too. I remember when I was listening to you say one of your is it one either left or right
both of my knees are gone.
So on. Is it the thighs? We are shrinking and so on. Both of them. And so many. Charles Bassey, sorry, not Paul Bassey. Adiele today, Kadiri Kana. Many of us. Just let me mention but few.
Okay.
And this is a serious matter.
Okay, two things I want to ask you again.
Mm-hmm.
One, when we were young and playing for the national team,
yes,
did anybody ever tell us about the effect of those training sessions and all the injuries we suffered and the medications and treatments we received in the future? That in future you are going to be, you are going to be affected like this, so warned, so that we can prepare for that future. Did anybody ever tell us?
Never. Nobody ever said that to me and to my colleagues, because if there's anybody who has said it, he has to say it in front of many players when we have gathered to advise now. He can't take personally. So there was no such a thing. And remember, we were climbing the stadium, National Stadium, hard surface. Climbing and coming down and jumping from up and down, running on the road as a road walk. These are some of the things that contributed.
Okay. The second question is about welfare. Throughout, I don't know, how many years were you in the national team for? How many years? Because I would tell you.
I joined national team from 1978, if I can remember. Yes, 78, around late 78. Then I played my last match for Nigeria in 1988.
10 solid years. 10 solid years. Give us an idea of the welfare package, what you were earning.
There's nothing like welfare package. No, I played in 2 Olympics for Nigeria. When Olympics was like World Cup, it was not age group matches. It's national team. But today is age group. Under 23. I played in 2 Nations Cup for Nigeria. But could you believe that if you watch other countries, for example.
Now, how much were you being paid, for playing for Nigeria throughout that period? No, I can say that, the highest that we got in the 1980 Cup of Nations, the bonus by that time was 1,000 naira for a match. And we were receiving two, was it 2 naira for allowances, which was increased to 6. You
are talking about 1,000. 1,000 was when in 1981,
yes.
after the Nations Cup. And for how long? Before you retired. Before the Kyo retired. Before the rest of us retired. 1,000 was very late even. When you're talking about it was 1981.
It was 60. It was 60 naira we were receiving for winning any match. And so on and so forth.
That's 1,000 naira.
And for example, I was going to speak about myself. For example, for like 6 or 7 years, I did not spend more than a few days or 1 week with my family. Even the children that we had at that time, we didn't know them. Because we were not staying at home. We were in one camp or the other, playing Cup Winners' Cup, Champions League, Nations Cup, World Cup, Olympic. We were always going there to represent either the state, through the state represent the country, or the country itself. And at the end of it, the day I stopped playing was the day I had my last contact as a football player with the national team. Is that your own story?
That's my own story too. I remember I joined the Green Eagles, what they call today the Super Eagles. I joined them from secondary school, Metropolitan Secondary School, Onitsha. Also, it disrupted my own education. I joined Rangers from Metropolitan Secondary School. I was in those countries who playing for Rangers. So, what the important thing here is that even where we're supposed to have gains on certain things, being recognized and remembered, something like Nations Cup, for instance. If you go into the Nations Cup, you look for those who have participated and played for Nigeria. If you watch other countries, even European Nations Cup, South American Nations Cup, World Cup, Olympic Games. If it's Olympic Games, they take some of the Olympians. They give them a star code, they quarter them in a hotel, they go there and watch Olympic Games, and they come back to at least analyze what they have seen. But in case of Nigeria, it's quite different. Even Nations Cup, you can imagine, I won Nations Cup as a player, I won Nations Cup as a coach. And when I go there to tell them I want to go to Nations Cup and see what is good, they take their friends. The point here is that they take those who never even suffered or participated in these games.
Okay. Okay, that's not our focus this morning. Our focus now is, okay, after all of that, your career and so on and so forth, what could you have invested in to sustain you for the rest of your life, apart from coaching? What could you have invested in? Did you have the resources? Did you have the savings? Did you have, and all of that kind of a thing to sustain you? And how is life now?
What I'm just going to say is that I'm managing life with my family.
Good.
Just like you said, when we were playing, you don't know your mother, you hardly sit with your mother or your father. You are in one camp. For example, you're in Shooting Stars then. Then I was in Rangers, and Rangers play continental games. Shooting Stars play continental games almost every year. So it's either you're in Rangers camp, Shooting Stars camp, or the Green Eagles camp. So we had never had time with our parents. Then I was not married, I was young. And one of the biggest things is that, we started playing football so young. Most of us that play football, because we have passion. So we started playing football so young that we don't know anything apart from football. We don't know any other thing apart from football. So sometimes it's difficult for those who played football to go into other lives, like business and so on. It's only few. Even all over the world, it's only few. It's only few. I mean, talking about football and sportsmen and women in general. Because their life centers on it. So I'm just managing life for now, seeing how we can. There's other stories I need to tell, but it's not for today. Anyway.
Okay. So let's move to Dr. Amao, because today's program is actually putting sports medicine on the dock. You are now on the dock. We have a lawyer who is observing. Dr. Amao,
yes.
What Quicksilver just told us is common knowledge. Is common to most athletes, isn't it? That they just go in there and they just enjoy their sports. They go and they train and train and train. Do you, in your own experience, know that athletes are told the consequences of intensive, high level sports training and games and injuries that they naturally sustained down the line of their lives, particularly when they start to age? Is it the practice to let them know?
Yes, Big Sheikh. That's good. And I want to thank Silvanus, at least, for bringing out some of these issues. Well, in my own experience, was when I joined the National Sports Commission and I work as a sports doctor. It was the age when sports medicine actually is becoming established.
Good.
Therefore, there are a few things that for me as a physician, I discuss with players, some issues. And even some of them will tell me that, well, hey, doc, you bring your book around, you show us pictures and explain things. Well, it may be difficult for us to understand, but then I said, but that's the only way I can tell you, because your body, you need to know the part of your body that you actually, are put under stress constantly, and what consequences that definitely, will come after some time, because injuries, come like that. it's not necessary that the injury will come from somebody's, somebody tackling, the other player. But sometimes it could be what you call intrinsic kind of injury, which is like self-inflicted, based on what you call overuse or repetitive kind of action on certain particular, part of the body, like what Silvano said, like running on hard surfaces and jumping down during training and so on. Those kinds of things definitely, maneuvers of physical activities will definitely, impact on those structures that actually are used, most especially the joints, the muscles and the tendons. And when you look at it, if it becomes repetitive, definitely there will be a time when there will be what they call like a giveaway. But then sportsmen are much younger and the repair process takes over and is quicker because there's what they call rapid turnover of cells that will come into repair process. We do not know at what time some of these repair processes occur. During rest, during, inactive period, some of these things happen. And there are other factors which help in the repair process because exercise itself helps because it increases blood flow to some of these structures. We then remove some of the product of the injury and then, replace it and then supply oxygen. We then carry out the repair process, So many athletes will not stay long before they get better. And sometimes they feel that way during training, a day. And the following day, you find out that they feel much improved, depending on the severity of the injury. So what you said, to some extent, is true. But for me, and for most of my colleagues, especially the new generation then that came into sports medicine, we used to do that because during our training, you have to discuss with your athletes. You have to discuss some of the impacts, which definitely, will definitely, reoccur. And most of this injury, like I said, if they are properly managed, then the sequelae or the effect of it, in later life may not be as pronounced. Because if somebody has a fracture, let's say, and is properly taken care of, not through the traditional method or native bone setters, if it requires that they put a pin and they do that, align it properly, the leg is in that particular shape, it heals. And with good rehabilitation, because most times you find out that, modern day sport medicine practice is not to say that when somebody has injury, then you lay that individual up. Even 30 minutes, 1 hour after that, you start one kind of exercise. It would be just something like just keep moving this joint up and down. And then you continue with your rehabilitation.
Okay.
We call that kind of thing, passive kind of thing.
Okay, doctor,
So,
let's look at, our own generation now. In 1975, 11 of us were penciled to play at the finals of the FA Cup in Lagos from Shooting Stars. 11 of us. Today, 9 are dead.
Yeah.
In the Rangers team, 11 of them, 7 are dead. In the 1980 Africa Cup of Nations team, of the 22 of us, 7 are dead. And if you look at those who are even still alive, Charles Bassey is there on his bed. He cannot walk, riddled with arthritis in both knees, and he had problems with his waist. Christian Chukwu, if you see him now, he cannot walk. You saw him, I'm sure you have seen him recently. Okala is the same thing. Adoke had to go to Lebanon or somewhere to go for his own surgery. Cost him tons and tons of money. Kadiri Kana was almost bent over. Me, I have serious arthritis in both knees. Muda Lawal died at age 39. And so on and so on. And we're just talking football. But because of the nature of my relationship with sports as a whole, I am following the trend in different sports and the lives of different sports people. Now, you are a medical practitioner. I know that we don't have the data or facts and figures, but would you be worried that something is going on that is not right with these people? Don't we need to set up an inquiry of some sort, a medical inquest of some sort, to find out why these people die at 30, 40, 50? The oldest of us now is like 73, and we are very few. Many have died before they turned 60. Isn't it, just okay that government should find something, find out what is going on, that we don't live long and we are all riddled with all these problems, and we are all sports people? The same thing in table tennis. Go and see Tunde, Babatunde Obisoya, and so on and so forth. It's in all sports. Ngozika Ekwelum, that one cannot even leave his house anymore, and so many others like that. So I'm asking you, just look at that scenario. Is it not necessary that government should set up an inquiry, medical, scientific inquiry, to find out what is going on?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is something that can be or should be done. We may not call it inquiry, it could be a kind of study group to be able to have data and to see the incidence of some of these problems that we've mentioned, and they'll also find out those who are still alive but at advanced age, what they're suffering from, and then be able to compare it with what obtains in developed countries. What you are saying and what Silvana said about the old age problem relating to athletes, especially elite athletes, is common in other countries too.
We don't get to old age. That's the problem. We don't get to old age. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I say you see this in players in other countries, especially in advanced countries too, who suffer from some of these things, but may not be at the same degree of severity as we see it here, because of the improved level of their health services. And at the same time, when some of these players are actually actively playing, they tend to have what they call insurance, which the clubs or the nation would definitely put them if they are national players. And this insurance definitely, helps them to be able to get quality medical, attention. Plus the fact that I know in other advanced countries that you have some of these elite and professional players who, apart from that, take their own insurance also, so that, they can have, a kind of what they call choice of either physical therapists, orthopedic surgeon, or whoever that they would like to be treated, under their care. So you find out that, it's better, because if injuries occur and is properly taken care of, the complications that is setting will be reduced. And it may not pose so much problem at old age. But if injuries are not properly taken care of, like Silvano said, ankle injury, especially football, knee injuries, sometimes it happens that we don't even know the diagnosis, because some of these things, like you mentioned, may occur in the clubs, which definitely may not be that serious, and some players play through this kind of injury. And the consequence in later life, because take, for example, if there's any bleeding in the joint, and if it's not properly taken care of, if the bleeding is not removed, I can tell you that, 10 years after that, it may be the beginning of osteoarthritis. It has been proven. That's why you find out that when athletes sustain injury, especially in the joint versus, quickly they just do something about it. And like I said to you, rehabilitation starts right immediately. Not to say that intensive rehabilitation, but gradual one, so that, it becomes something. And then they graduate the treatment protocols that will assist them to recover. Because most times you find out that, even if no intervention, the body heals itself. That is the nature of our being, the physiology and all these other aspects. The body heals itself. To have a problem in your ankle and nothing probably is done, is probably they strap it. After some time, the swelling goes down. After some time, you can wait there. After some time, you start, limping, and then, gradually, after maybe, 6 weeks, you're able to walk properly and start running. So many players have gone through that, but it's not the right thing, because there must be intervention so that, you can tailor the treatment modalities so that athletes will definitely heal even faster with less complication that will lead to chronic problems later.
Okay, so, Doctor, beyond the injuries,
it's possible that government or the relevant sport authority can do that, so that at least we can have this kind of a discussion and come out with something that can be recommended to the federal government, whereby the kind of establishment of either insurance or endowment or whatever it can be done to assist, athletes, elite athletes that have rendered services to this country.
Doctor,
so
could there be a correlation beyond the injuries? Could there be a correlation between the rate of death, the age at which athletes die, the retired international athletes die, with the sport that they took part in? Could there be? I'm not saying there is, whether it is definite or not, but from the figures that we hear, from the things that are happening optically all around us, could there be a correlation that deserves looking into? People, so many. Moses just died last week. Ayo Ogunlana just died the other week. Muda died at 30-something, and I said 9 out of 11 are dead, and they didn't get up to 70. Could there be a correlation from this specific group that are high-level sports people that needs a study?
Oh yes.
Beyond the injuries.
There's need for that. But what I can point out here is the fact that athletes or elite sportsmen is just a kind of subgroup of the general population.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even in general population, as we grow from the young age to older age, the tendency is that certain chronic health issues will definitely surface. Okay? And if the understanding is not there from individual, automatically some issues that could be promptly, attended to will be left unattended to and become the major health issue. So that could account for some of this death that you are mentioning.
Yes.
May not necessarily relate to the active playing days. Because what we know is that sports exercise supposed to, enhance longevity, wellness. And it's been found out that elite athletes actively, engage in their sports. When they actually retire, if they do not stop engaging in regular physical activity, they tend to delay the onset of some of these chronic problems, which definitely, are related to age or to aging. And this is supposed to be it, because usually elite athletes, by the time they are at the age of 50, you find out that the muscle atrophy, becomes more pronounced. Even before then, one thing that has been scientifically proved is that an active individual with good muscle, bulk muscle endurance, flexibility, and so on. If there's injury to any joint or any part of the body, and he could not do anything, in 2 weeks, he will lose 25% of his muscle what they call muscle, activity. 25% is a lot. Muscle endurance, flexibility, muscle, strength. In fact, strength is the first thing to go. And when muscle strength start decreasing, definitely it has effect on the joint, because muscle is supposed to move the joint. At the point of the tendon, they tend to support the joint. And if the joint has been, what they call it, barrage, with a lot of trauma in active playing days, and the muscle that should supposed to support it is decreasing in strength, power, endurance, definitely you know that the joint becomes even more vulnerable. Osteoarthritis, like mentioned, will set in, and it will be very severe. And that is the issue. And if it progresses like that without intervention, then you find out that, people become crippled. I'm not saying that people in such a way they can move, but they move around with difficulties. For somebody who has not played at all, who has not involved in any sport, osteoarthritis will set in. It's setting in now at even a lower age, at 20-something. They've seen quite a number of young people, young individuals who are not in sport, who have onset of arthritis in their 20s and their 30s. And by the time they are 40s, they are actually in severe problem with arthritis. So these are issues that we have to look at. Sport definitely help, exercise will help. And that's why, young players, like at your age group, when you are playing, you play through some of these things, these pains and so on, and quickly you recover. It's at the later stage that consequences will come in. And like Silvanus said, putting injection into some of these joints when they are swelling, there's pain, there's something like that. Well, from my own training, we are told that it should not be. And if it has to be done, it has to be done by special people trained to do that. Because when you put injection into the structures, most especially around tendon, and you go through the tendon, some of these injections will definitely, affect the elasticity and the integrity of the tendon. Then the tendon becomes a little bit frail, because there are a lot of the structure. I can't describe it, for people to understand, but the structures are distorted, and then they are prone to rupture.
Okay.
Some players have experienced this. My training in the UK, we've seen some of these things, even among the whites. Okay. And most of the time, we've been instructed to not give injection. Physical treatment, physiotherapy, massage, and then, different modalities are available that somebody has to give injection for athletes, for player to play. Yeah, it will relieve pain, especially the corticosteroid injections, which is the normal thing they do. And in UK, and we are trained, they will tell you the strength that should be given, but it should not be given to the substance of the tendon or the muscle itself. It has to be given around it, and it's only experts, those who have the expertise, they have them. Orthopedic surgeon. Sometimes now they do it under what they call ultrasound, ultrasonography, so that you are precise in what you are actually administering. So it's not entering into the substance of the tendon in order to create what they call damage.
Okay, Doc. I think we've had enough of the horror story from you. It is horror story. It is horror story because we didn't have the foggiest idea what was going on at that time, and we had no information. So this is the time to bring in Kayode Akinshola, the lawyer, because you are seated, you are the judge in this matter, and you've listened to the sports medicine expert. Tell us.
Yeah, but let me add what we are saying.
No, wait. We'll come back to you. No, don't worry.
Everything. We are talking about wrong application of treatment.
Yes, we know.
The application of the treatment that we're talking about.
Yes, don't worry.
In Portugal, when I was playing too, I had in Portuguese, they call it tibia and proni. That is tibia and fibra. But I was treated. I was operated and treated. I never had problem there till this day. So when you talk about walking, every day I walk up to 30 minutes every day. Do some exercises on my own. I've never stopped.
Okay. Quicksilver. Okay, let's bring in the lawyer. Kayode, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
And you have been listening, Abi?
Oh, yes, I've been following the conversations prior to this time. What everybody has actually said, particularly those heroes.
Okay.
Now, the challenge that we tend to have in Nigeria is because
let me ask the question. Okay. How I want you to think. And in fact, I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it before you answer, because we must go on this break. You see, in all of this, when we're talking of, elite athletes, what we do is that we represent our states or we represent our country. And that makes you an elite person. That is, you are playing at the highest level internationally. And we do this for several years. You have heard our story. You have heard the story of the sports medicine specialists who are working on it. You've heard both sides of it now. Do you think that somebody should be culpable? Somebody should be responsible. We did not know anything. We were not told anything. We were not given anything. And we spent our youthful years doing all of these things, representing our states and our countries. And at the end, the moment you finish, you are finished. You have no connection with them anymore. You have nothing with them anymore. So, do you think that the governments, and I'm talking state and federal, are culpable in this? Because they are the ones that use us eventually, and they don't do anything after. Are they culpable? Must they take responsibility to conduct the studies, to take care of those who did it that they did not take care of at the time and did not take care of afterwards, and they are now into old age, they are dying and so on? Think about it for the next minute, because we are going on this break. This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7 FM, reaching you from Wasimi in Ogun State, and 90 minutes with Mathematical. Join us after this break.
Extended sale alert! Hooray! An extension offer to the ongoing London promotional fairs. You asked, we listened. Save over 600,000 naira on your London trip with Airpeace when you connect from our major domestic destinations to London at no extra cost and enjoy an exclusive extra baggage allowance. Economy class promo fares start from 1.2 million naira with an extra 23 kg baggage, while business class fares start from 4.5 million naira with an extra 32 kg baggage. Grab these special fares. Sale period extends till March 31st, 2025, and travel period valid till April 15th, 2025. Flying style abroad are Boeing 777s with spacious seating and delightful meals. Book now at flyairpeace.com or download the Airpeace app from the Play Store or App Store. Airpeace, your peace is our goal.
Hi, my name is Mr. Austin Owen Aguavon, Technical Director, Nigeria Football Federation. Keep listening to Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7 FM.
Welcome back. Well, Kayode Akinshola, barrister. Your thoughts?
Okay, so if I should just say one word, I think the government is the one that is actually culpable here. And it is so sad that we live in a country where we tend not to value human lives. And much importantly, the right to life, as enshrined in Section 33 of the Constitution, confers on the duty that protection of lives of our people should be the primary responsibility of the government. And when you know an athlete, either at state level or federal level or international level, will observe that what they're actually doing, their role in a society, is more of a national assignment. I could remember those days while I was serving as a member of board of Ogun State Sports Council then. We used to say that each of them, what they do is national assignment. But what sport? If you are choosing sport, the career, some people will join maybe immediately after their primary school. While some could join, while they finish their secondary school, some might join in the university. It is not all of them that actually have this opportunity of going to formal school. They will have used the better part of their lives to serve either the state or, the nation, representing the nation outside the south of the country. If they have done this for several years, and they tend to have infractions, concerning their health because of the, aerobics that they have done, and as such, several injections were, infused in them, several drugs and prescriptions were made on them, which tend to affect them in old age. In the government, they have the duty and the responsibility to make sure that this category of people who are heroes, they've been able to make us proud at an international level. And it's just that we tend not to look back when some people are actually served and they are done well for the country. But we tend to see some of these political office holders, even when you look at their severance allowances, what they earn in a month, you tend to ask yourself that what are these people doing? Are they truly the heroes of our dear nation? People are actually serving this nation through so many means. And particularly is one that tends to unite us together. Some they represent this country outside the country. In fact, by the time some of them are dead, they abandon their families. And this is the worst part of it. So in government, if they are going to do, I think the government should do, either at state at federal level, they should begin to think how they can effectively either ensure or they make sure that these national heroes or heroes of sport, they are taken care of. And after, we are seeing our athletes and sportsmen, they are treated either at their old age or they are still serving. We know how well they are well remunerated. Recently, I saw somebody that I know very well. While I still love the passion for sport, I really wanted to become a footballer while I was very young. But my parents, being the principled one, what they just is as good as they forced me into education. I would have loved to choose sport because I love sport a lot. A lot. Now, seeing somebody who happened to be my coach recently, and I asked myself that I don't think we are doing well for some of these people who have sacrificed their life, their prime age, to really serve this nation, and only for them not to be well compensated or well taken care of when they get to the old age. I do not think we should begin to think about enabling law, legislating the athletes.
Very good.
To have this entitlement by the time they are getting to several several stages of their life. They have to be protected. Otherwise, you will just discover. For example, I could see that a stadium was named after him. I've been to his where we have his burial ground recently. When I got there, I felt don't really think this is good enough. Not only him. I was with Mr. Ikana not too long, and he said some things, and I said, oh, you beyond giving an MON, which is a national honor, there should be some other things that will be done that will make people wanting to even go into sports. Because when you want to mention, it is just a way of life. Without sports, people can, we won't have unity, so many things that sports could do for us as a nation. There are so many revenue that nation can derive if we plan it properly. But governments, either at state or at federal level, I think they are the ones who I think they are actually culpable in doing some of these things. And I think it is high time for us to begin to think about legislating those things that will better a lot of our sport heroes.
Okay, thank you. Government has not done anything. Government has not done anything. Through the decades, I can tell you, there have been attempts, they set up this sports development fund, they set up this one, set up that one. They never implemented the objectives for which they were set up to take care of the welfare of athletes. So since we know that government has not done anything and is unlikely to do anything, so I am thinking, Am I thinking right? That look, let us take the federal government to court. You have just said they are culpable. That is, they are responsible for whatever happened to those that have represented the country through so many years, serving the country, not getting remunerated the way they should be, so that they can take care of the consequences down the line. Since government is culpable, am I thinking right that, look, let us take this government to court? It's not a malicious case. It's not a malicious case. But to ask government...
I mean, we go to court. There are two things that I think should precede the court.
Very
court
good.
should be the last resort.
Very good.
I'm of the view that maybe we have not done enough engagement, I mean, on our own part, to engage the government on the need for them to do it.
No, we have. I can tell you.
Report. Then there has to be a media engagement also.
No, I can tell you categorically that we have done that. It is the commonest conversation in sports, the welfare of ex-international athletes. It is the commonest because it is all, the evidence is all around us. There are heroes, and 99% of them are not in good shape. They are suffering. So everybody knows this. Government knows this. They have tried to set up, as I told you, funds and so on and so forth. So we have gone beyond that. I can tell you. I have been a witness in the past 30 years at least. I have seen it, but that has not worked. That's why I am contemplating this next move now.
Now, I'll still insist. There is a level through which we have a media engagement, and the noise is so profound that government will have no option than them implementing some of these policies. Not until when we have done what we think, because if you ask me, for example, I know that it is government's role, it is their responsibility to make sure that our athletes are taken care of. But I've not heard enough noise about it. If you ask me, I'm speaking as an objective person.
Okay, there's no law. Okay, look at it again like this. There's no law that compels government to do anything. There's nothing that compels government to do anything, because what you are saying now is just about, morality. I'm talking of law now. There's no law. There's a Child Rights Act which compels government to educate every child up to a certain extent. But you see, even in that, it is in the Constitution. But it is not implemented to that level. But it is there. Anybody can go there and use it to drive that objective. There is the right of children to play. It is in the Constitution. Every child must have access to a playground and certain things and so on. It is not implemented to that level, but it is there. So, and this case is not in our law books. Why would the government do anything that is not compelled to do? We are at the mercy of the whims and caprices.
From the legislative angle.
Very good. I want you to tell us the process with which we can now put this as law.
For example, maybe at House of Reps level or House of, or Senate, we have committees on sports. These committees, they are the one who are supposed to present a bill to the National Assembly that this particular law should be passed. By the time we have enough pressure on them, it is after then they can legislate. For example, if you need to go to court now, there is an action, or let me say a suit, or dragging government to case under what we call mandamus, that is mandating a government official to carry out their obligations under the law. Where the government or public office holder, they fail to do that, the order for mandamus. But if we say we want to mandate them, we can't mandate them to do what is not in our law books.
Very good.
The law has to first go in, either through the National Assembly and the State Assembly. Let them pass this law, and we can pass one at the National Assembly that will be binding on the respective states. By the time these are legislated, then we can now come back to say, Mr. Government, we have this in our law books, and you are not implementing it. And your act of not implementing it becomes illegal.
Very good.
So to an extent, we can start from the engagement of the legislators, particularly the committees on the sports. So I think we can start from that before we now begin to, let's start from legislation before we begin to think about court option. This is what will be my advice.
Fantastic. Dr. Amao, you have listened to Barrister Akinshola there. What are your thoughts, particularly as it relates to, the medical side of things? You said it yourself when you joined the National Sports Commission. I'm sure what you know today would be like miles ahead of what you knew then. And we are even discussing an issue today that we don't have exact facts and figures. That these are subjects of study, continuous study. So what are just your immediate thoughts as to what we can even do, medically, and in relation to what he just suggested about going to legislation and getting a bill, passed and so on and so forth? What are your thoughts?
Yes, I've listened to the legal angle from the attorney, and I think the suggestion is apt, is quite good. But I think, like you said too, the moderator has said, the Child Right Act is there. Even there is the OAU Charter on this Child Right Act, the right of the child to physical activity, the right to have playgrounds where they can play, because that is the beginning. That is the beginning of all these processes we talk about, including those of you that actually, play at the highest level. We started from elementary school. So this particular Child Right Act could be tinkered with to the extent that that would be a portion where this introduction of the health aspects of the young athletes as they progress, where it should be taken care of. And I think when we talk about the federal government alone, the state government is there because the athletes actually, you all came from the grassroots. So it's something that, they have to be there, because the federal government, most of the time, like your elite athlete like you, they only pick you because you are probably, some of the best among the other ranks. And that's why, the elite selected to be national athletes. And then you are there. Yes, you represent the country from time to time. The country has to take care of you. And you mentioned it also. We shouldn't lose sight of the issue like the Athletes Development Fund, which was set up so many years ago. Could there be a kind of another fund specifically for elite athletes, like Elite Athletes Welfare Fund, which definitely on yearly basis, definitely I think it should come through legislation. And then, the federal government probably controls this. But I think if we want to start something that will attract their attention, that will bring both at the sports authorities at the state and at the federal level, certain representation definitely need to be made to the National Council on Sports, which is a council, the highest policy making body for sports in Nigeria. Comprising of the federal, other Ministry of Sport or National Sports Commission at the apex, all the states, sports councils, sports commissions are involved. They are part and parcel, and they meet sometimes twice a year. And issues like this could be brought so that, like the lawyer said, the noise is coming, and then it brings the attention of the relevant, authorities to see this as something that they need to leverage on this suggestion and be able to assist the athletes. You see, the insurance issue definitely is the national health insurance. It suggested many times that national athletes, whether from the state, they should be at least subscribing to the national health insurance, which can be extended if they can extend it, the national health insurance scheme, to look at, performing athletes as a special group of people that probably they carve out something, a kind of policy for them. And government that definitely contribute to this for the what they call after sport, that is life after sport, so that elite athletes that have rendered services to this country can benefit from in terms of accessing medical services, which definitely is the point now. And like I said to you, those who are not in sports, they have the same thing. As we grow older, chronic problems will start. But for sportsmen, if they remain inactive after they've retired from sport, they will fall into what they regress into the same general population. The incidence of some of these problems will come. Hypertension, diabetes, obesity, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So these are issues that I think if it can be properly, looked at and make representation to the National Council on Sports, they meet every year, and then, maybe they would tinker with the national policy on sports, as it were. And definitely, we could start from there.
Okay.
So that, elite athletes who have contributed to this country for many years could, at the end of their playing career, be able to be looked after in terms of all this. Because we know why some of these issues prevail. There are quite a number of things that happen that really impact on the athletes, most especially if they are not well prepared for the life after sports.
Yeah.
Silvano said it. He keeps working on a daily basis. That's why he's looking fit and looking like somebody who is just about 50 years or 45 years. But if others regress into what they call sedentary life, then, the incidence of them coming, face to face with some of these life, or health, problems will definitely manifest. And then it could be something that will definitely affect their life, adversely.
Okay.
High blood pressure and so on and so on. These are things that occur in society. But we know fully well that the poverty in the land is there.
Yeah.
There is no money, in terms of what they call like pension. There is economic hardship, economic stress. That's what even we call it, economic stress.
We are all going through it, doctor.
Whether it artists or not.
No,
so these are issues, but government can come in to see what they can do to alleviate some of this.
Okay.
And that would be we can explore this further in other discussions.
Yeah.
That at least some representation will be made to government through the National Council of Sport to look at it, and then the House Committee on Sports as well, because some of them, chairmen of all these committees, they do attend the National Council of Sports meetings.
Okay.
We had to take certain decisions.
Okay, doctor. I've learned tremendously from this morning's conversation, and I have ideas in my head as to the sort of things that what one can do. But I want Quicksilver, who has listened to the doctor, has listened to the lawyer, and looking back now. So you know that if you look back, you would see that we made, as athletes, we made a lot of mistakes. We should have done so many things that we did not do, and purely out of ignorance. But you see, ignorance is not an excuse. So Silvanus, now that you know what you know, you've listened to the doctor, you've listened to the lawyer, what would you now advocate that we start to do for ourselves, the things we can do differently for ourselves, so that we can prepare all the young ones who are coming up now? If you look at what is going on, how much money the footballers earn in Europe and how much money athletes earn, you think that is what happens everywhere. No, the vast majority don't earn those kinds of money. So we still have a legion of elite athletes who are like us. We don't have pension, we don't have gratuity, we don't have health insurance, we don't have money, we don't have anything. No source of revenue. We are just struggling. And I'm one of them too. I admit that. So, Quicksilver, what do you think we should start to do now by ourselves for ourselves in the matter that we have just listened to?
For ourselves that are older, some of the things they've just mentioned is becoming kind of late. But for the younger ones who are coming up, for example, as a coach, we advise them how to save their money. But not much is even paid there. But let me go back. Doctor, your group, we are the first set of sports medicine doctors we had in Nigeria. Then we have left. I was no more playing for the Eagles. That was in the 90s, early 90s and so on, late 80s, if I can decide. Late 80s or early 90s, And sports medicine doctors are different from general practitioner doctor or orthopedic doctor. So even when we were playing, we had nurses as medical people. We had ordinary doctors, but there's what we call today sports medicine doctors. And if you go to Europe and other parts of the world, all the teams, all the clubs, they have sports medicine doctors attached to each teams. Do we have it here now? So we'll continue to have problems. We'll continue to have problems. Those sports medicine doctors and so on. During your time, you wouldn't have what they did to me if you were there when I was playing. I said,
well, we have issues.
Doctors, okay. Sometimes they take the players to their clinic. So what we should do now is to let the clubs in Nigeria insure insurance with some of the players they are playing with. That is how they did done overseas too. Yeah. They insure the player. They insure their players with good insurance. If anything happens, you fall back to it. But here, I don't know. They said they are. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do. So there's a lot we need to do in Nigerian sports generally to grow.
Okay.
Sports is not only having a stadium, having a track to run, having football pitches. There's a lot of things that are involved. And how you eat and what you eat as a player, how you drink, even the beer you drink, how you drink, how you don't, these things are very important. Even as a coach, you need to know it. A coach. Because the best psychologist to all these athletes is not a psychology that comes to. No psychology comes. But the best psychology a sportsman or a woman will get is his coach. Yeah. Because he's with him or her every day. Yeah. He sees things for himself. He knows in and out of his athlete, his behavior, his countenance, and so many things. So that is the best. But you can, clubs and this thing can still have psychology, they come generally, but the best psychology. That is my discretion. That is my own personal opinion.
Okay.
From my own experience.
Okay. Well, we are running out of time. We have not picked any calls.
For us, there's nothing we can do, Shebu, than what we are trying to do now. Let's see whether it will work. If it works, then we can eat from there. If I have to add, for example,
finally,
yes. In Rangers.
Yes.
Finally, in Rangers, P2B came with the issue of players. From then to today, during his tenure, and others that came after him joined. And they were playing not all, but those who were members of ex-Rangers coming to our meeting, about 100 of us. They used to pay us stipends, not much, but at least. No matter how small it's not too, or no matter how little it's not too small. Yeah. So that is P2B, and he did it. Then Anambra State, Anambra State. And it doesn't care where you come from, P2B. There's people from South.
Okay, so that one still exists up to today. That
so let's not go there. So let's not go there. But the important thing is that the younger ones who are coming in now, how do we, the coaches and so on, they are the administrators of the sports. What do they do? Because application of application of wrong treatment is the worst a player or even an individual can get anywhere. You have your ligament, you have your meniscus, you have this, you have your cap. You have cap injury or meniscus injury, they are treating you for, maybe you have a ligament problem, they are treating you for meniscus. Which is, we have experienced a lot here and we are suffering for it. We need to get something. We need.
Okay, well, we can't exhaust the conversation. We can't exhaust this conversation. Yeah, Silvanus.
The lawyer, you are in that direction.
Okay. Yeah. Silvanus, this subject cannot be exhausted completely in one program. So, but at least we have raised issues here. I have learned, and I would definitely try to start to do some things. But we have 2 minutes to go. Final thoughts, because Barrister Kayode is still waiting there. Just your final thoughts and your final words on today's subject. Barrister Akinshala.
Well, okay.
Go on.
So my final thoughts on this particular discourse is that we need to engage more, particularly committees and the National Council on Sports. There is need for us to engage them on this topical issue that affect the life and the fabrics of our sports era. Let's do more engagement, after which we make sure and ensure that they legislate some of this incentive so that we can really have a better future for the upcoming sportsmen in Nigeria. So these are just my few thoughts. And
Fantastic.
I'm very glad for inviting me on this program this morning.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, Dr. Amao, your contributions have been immense this morning, but your final thoughts also.
Yes, my final thoughts definitely will still be anchored on what I said last, because we cannot go back to reinvent the wheel or to say some of those things, but it's a background that was actually given. The issue is that, like the barrister said, we need to engage more with the sport administrators in states. They have very big responsibility in terms of looking after any athlete representing a state is in that group of elite athletes.
Yeah.
Going to National Sport Festival, you have to take insurance on them. There must be insurance policy. And that's the way to begin. So that, you can take care of some of the problems they have. We don't have enough time to go through it. I will have, not exposed, but will have said some few things that will buttress what I've said. Every time when we have the Olympic solidarity course, especially for sport administrators, the area of sport medicine, sport science that are really handle and the anti-doping, I stress the importance to these administrators who are majorly directors of sport from various state councils. They need to look after the health of the athletes, and the aspect of insurance is very key. You pay little premium, but then if one or two athletes have major issue, you have money to deploy to have the best, or the best doctor with, what they call, dexterity in terms of the skill to handle this kind of problems. And the consequences will be very, very minimal. And the athletes can go back and then for the rest of the time may not even have any kind of problem. But for me, like Silvanus said, you can do much for yourself, but for the coming ones, at least for the emerging athletes who definitely will go into being to representing this country, we need to serve them maybe better than we are doing.
Okay.
But it's not only the issue of the federal government alone, but it's the federal government that will galvanize everybody. But the state has to start something to start looking after their.
Thank you, Doctor. Quicksilver, we have run out of time. Maybe I'll give you 15 seconds just to crown your thoughts. 15 seconds.
Yes, we have said all. We said it all.
Okay.
And I said we are receiving stipends in Rangers, for example.
That's a model. That's an example for others to emulate.
And we can still do that. We're doing it based on states. But federal can also do the same. Most importantly, if Nigerians are going, I don't know whether the Nigerians are insured when they are going for the Olympic Games or Nations.
They are.
You could see some of the players even narrating and that when they got injured, they were on their own. It shouldn't be so.
Anyway, Quicksilver, thank you.
So.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know you're running out of time.
Yes, we have run out of time.
You can't exhaust everything today. Rome was not built in a day.
Yes. Thank you so much. Well, let me use this opportunity to thank once again Kayode Akinshola, Dr. Akinwumi Amao, Silvanus Opala for this very interesting and illuminating conversation that we have today. We have just scratched the surface of something. And what we are really looking at is the welfare of retired, those that have finished and now suffer through their old age, die young, and so on and so forth. I must admit that I have learned tremendously from the conversation. I have a few things on my mind, one of which is to go this legal way, going to the state legislation, going to the state legislature, going to the National Assembly, preparing bills and so on and so forth that would enshrine, the welfare of retired athletes in our constitution. It is so important. And that's what we shall be embarking on subsequent on today's conversation. I want to once again thank all of you for listening to us. This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7, 90 minutes with Mathematical. Join us again next week, Saturday, for another edition. Bye for now.